Great time, and hopefully next year.
And maybe even some of us older owners is, but I'm back.
Hey there, FOOS. It's Mizzah Tee. How you doing? All right, so like the title of the video says, we're going to be discussing Nintendo's third-party problems. Starting with the N64, Nintendo has had issues procuring a lot of third-party support on the consoles for the most part. So let's have a discussion about that. Like, a lot of people have, theories on why, and we'll talk about that. But we'll talk about what I think the main thing is, at least at this point. Obviously, the one of the big things people talk about is hardware, the power of the console. And for the most part, that is a issue with the third-party support when it comes to Nintendo consoles. I did the GameCube proves anti-Nintendo bias video quite some time ago, specifically talking about the GameCube and why it didn't get third-party support. A lot of people in hindsight say it was the disc media, the 1 point, I think it was 1.2 or 1.3 gigabyte mini DVD for the GameCube. And I basically dispelled that because for many generations we've had multiple disc video games. During the PlayStation era, we had 4-disc Square Enix games, or Squaresoft games, they weren't Enix yet, coming from Square Final Fantasy games. So that's just one of a lot of RPGs had multiple discs for their games in those days. Even PC games had multi-disc games. So multi-discs, while they can be a hindrance, that's not a big enough hurdle to say, well, we're not going to develop for your console, because GameCube had plenty of third-party support. That wasn't a hindrance for them. They got really good support from EA, really good support from Ubisoft, pretty good support from the Western developers. Not so much from Eastern in those days, surprisingly enough. GameCube didn't get a lot of Eastern support, and so that was definitely an issue. But obviously, the GameCube was a powerful console. It was cheap to develop for. It was easy to develop for. It was comparable as far as the licensing fees go. I think it was still a little bit more expensive, maybe by a couple of dollars, than the PlayStation 2 and Xbox original, but still comparable enough to where those things shouldn't be a hindrance to getting the support. And Xbox also didn't get great Eastern support either, so we got pretty good Western support, but the Eastern support is what put PlayStation over during the 6th gen, so RPGs and stuff like that. So and games like Grand Theft Auto, which Nintendo didn't want. They actively said they didn't want Grand Theft Auto on their console. And that hurt them sales-wise, because then Grand Theft Auto, especially during the 6th gen, was a very popular series. So, especially in the Western audience. So, Nintendo shot themselves in the foot with certain things, but the things that people say a lot aren't the reasons why. So let's go ahead and look at the list, and this is what I think the reasons are. Like I said, the Super Nintendo was pretty much the last console that Nintendo got full third-party support, Eastern and Western. So, but we're gonna start with the NES, and we're gonna look at the game sales list here. The top game sales, the top selling games on the console. So number one, you got Super Mario Brothers, 40 million. Skewed a bit because Super Mario did ship with a lot of. I don't think it shipped with the Japanese version, but I obviously it's shipped with the Western version, North American version of NES. So a lot of those sales are counted with the hardware. So you have Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3 being the second. Number 2. Number 3, you have Super Mario Brothers 2. Number 4, you have Tetris, and you have Zelda. You have Zelda 2, Link, Adventures of Link. You got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a third-party game. Dragon Warrior 4, Metroid, Golf. It's a first-party game. Dragon Warrior, Baseball, first-party, RC Pro-Am. I believe that was Rare, RC Pro-Am. Might be wrong about that. I think it was Rare. But Mahjong, and so on and so forth. Basically, looks like 80% of the top 20 games, 85% of the top 20 games or so are from selling games, are from Nintendo themselves. All right, so let's move on to Super Nintendo. And you have Super Mario World at number 1. Again, it shipped with the hardware, so that helped in North America. Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Kart, Street Fighter 2, Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong Country 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Star Fox, Super Mario World 2, Dragon Quest 6, Killer Instinct, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dragon Quest, F-Zero, Chrono Trigger. Then the Final Fantasy started hitting. Those were games, obviously, that weren't on the competition's console, weren't on Sega Genesis. So that was a big lift for Nintendo to have those big RPGs. And then you have more Nintendo games to round at the top 20. And let's move on to N64. So obviously N64. Oh, wait a minute. Wrong one. N64. This is obviously when third-party support completely, well, not completely, but dropped severely from Super Nintendo and N64. So Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time, Smash Brothers, Donkey Kong Racing, Pokemon Stadium, Donkey Kong 64, Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, Adventure 2, and on and on and on. It's not until you get to WCW and WO before you get to a non-Nintendo, non-rare game. But again, N64 was the console where you had the big drop-off from third-party, so it makes more sense. But then again, it's not that different from the NES and the Super NES to the N64 as far as the amount of Nintendo games and the top selling games on the console. And then GameCube, which had better third-party support, but obviously not as good as the other guys. You got Smash Brothers at number 1, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario Sunshine, Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Metroid Prime, Sonic Adventure 2, Battle, Pokemon Coliseum, Mario Party 4, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Mario Party 5, Sonic Mega Collection. So yeah, 2 Sonic games in the top 20, not bad. You got Rogue Squadron 2, which is an awesome game, which I had some gameplay on a couple of videos ago, Star Fox Adventures, Mario Parties, and so on. So again, third party came back, not completely, obviously, but it did come back better, and mostly Nintendo games in the top 20. Let's move on to the Nintendo. What are we on? This is the Wii U. Let's go to the Wii. Ridiculous sales for Wii Sports. Again, pack-in game in the West. I don't think it was the same in Japan. Or Europe. I don't know about Europe, but I know it didn't come packed in Japan, as far as I remember. So you have Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, Wii Sports Resort, Super Mario Brothers Wii, New Super Mario Bros. We Play, We Fit, We Plus, you know, and these games were selling tens of millions of copies, and it just goes on and on. These are all Nintendo games in the tops. So till you get to Just Dance. But yeah, and the Wii always gets, you know, we didn't have any third-party support. We had great third-party support. It just didn't have comparable, obviously, to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 because of the hardware limitations. So you can say the hardware limitations stopped it from getting, you know, Assassin's Creeds and things of that nature, which I think it still should have got some kind of Assassin's Creed if the PlayStation Portable got one. PSP got a few Assassin's Creed games. So why you would think those games should have been up-resed or ported over to the Wii, so that way at least Nintendo fans can get ingratiated with that series, even if they can't get the mainline games. But you know, I'm rambling on. But it did get a lot of third-party support. As a matter of fact, 70 third-party games sold 1 million or more. And that's 70 different third-party games sold 1 million or more copies on Wii. And another thing people say about Wii is the shovelware, which is true. It has a abundant amount of shovelware, but it also has a lot of great third-party games that are exclusives because of the uniqueness of the Wii and companies using that. So I mean, there are some great games, and I'm going to do a video talking about those because people seem to forget there is a great library on Wii. That's why I like the Wii better than the GameCube, even, because I think it had, for one, the motion controls I love, and it just had better third-party support than the GameCube did, and a lot of really unique games. So, but Ego gets a bad rap because it did sell to non-gamers as well. But so let's go over to Xbox, the original Xbox, and look at the top-selling games on that. You got Halo 2, and you got Halo, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, Fable, Rockstar Games, Double Pack of Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, Need for Speed Underground, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Project Gotham Racing 2, Project Gotham Racing, what's that? JP Weekly Sales, I don't know what that is. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Madden, NFL. So there are a lot of in the top. There are a lot of first party games, exclusive games to the Xbox. But you know, then you start to see the third parties permeate when you get to the top 20. Because Microsoft with the Xbox was trying to establish themselves, so they had to have games that differentiated themselves from the competition, and they understood that coming in. So that's one of the reasons they bought Rare, because they wanted to have exclusive games, and they wanted to take Rare away from Nintendo as their ace. So let's move on to the 360, and that pretty much changes. 360 was a third-party console. You got Kinect Adventures at number 1. Kinect was somewhat of a phenomenon on the 360, not nearly, Wii Sports or anything like that, Wii Fit, but pretty good. 14 million sales, or actually 21 million global sales of the Kinect, and I think Adventures came with it, so that was part of those sales. Then you have Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Halo 3, Grand Theft Auto 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. So you see what's going on here. These games on the Xbox are the top selling games for the most part in the top 20 on the Xbox are, while there are some first party sprinkles in there, they are third-party multiplats. And moving on to the Xbox One, that continues. You have Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, Halo 5 Guardians, Assassin's Creed, Unity, Fallout 4, Destiny, Halo Master Chief Collection Titanfall, Call of Duty, Star Wars Battlefront, FIFA 16, Assassin's Creed 4, Forza, FIFA, Madden, Battlefield, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Minecraft, and NBA 2K16. So more third parties are permeating on the Xbox One in the top 20. And let's jump over to PlayStation. PlayStation 2. I didn't do one because I don't want to be this video way too long, but so PlayStation 2 from the beginning, third party console. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Gran Turismo 3, Grand Theft Auto 3, Gran Turismo 4, Final Fantasy X, Need for Speed Underground, Need for Speed Underground 2, Medal of Honor Frontline, Kingdom Hearts, Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty, Final Fantasy. Again, most of the tops are third-party games. Some were exclusive third-party games, but mostly third-party multi-plats. Well, I don't want to say mostly, but probably half and half. But the third-party games. That's the main thing. And then you have PlayStation 3. It gets quote-unquote worse. Not worse for lack of a better word. There's more third parties in the tops. Grand Theft Auto 4, Call of Duty, Gran Turismo 5, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 4. I said Grand Theft Auto 4 up here. I meant 5. Call of Duty Ghosts, FIFA, Battlefield, FIFA, Uncharted. Then the Uncharted started to hit at around 12, then 13, and Call of Duty, Red Dead, Assassin's Creed, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Metal Gear, Little Big Planet, Last of Us at 21. Yeah, so again, third-party console for the most part. Call of Duty here we go with PlayStation 4. Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, FIFA, Star Wars Battlefront, Fallout, Destiny, Last of Us at 9, the remake, or remaster, whatever you want to call it. Watch Dogs, Far Cry 4, Assassin's Creed, Uncharted, Nathan Drake Collection, Call of Duty, Batman, Battlefield, Witcher 3, Minecraft, Metal Gear. Again, you see a pattern here. I could go to handhelds, but it'd be the same thing as far as what I'm trying to get at. The pattern is third-party games sell extremely well on PlayStation consoles and Xbox consoles. Even when Nintendo had the third-party support, their top-selling games on the console were Nintendo games. And third parties are conscious of that. They realize on Nintendo consoles, they have to compete with Nintendo games. And when they don't have to compete, they can, when they know they don't got to compete, and they can just sell 10 million copies of Call of Duty on PlayStation 4, and they know they're not going to sell anywhere near that on a Nintendo console, why waste the resources? Why even do it? So that to me is the biggest reason you don't have third party anymore. There was a separation after the Super Nintendo, and third parties built up their fan bases on PlayStation and Xbox, and that's where those guys go for those consoles or for those games. So in order to get a big enough install base or a big enough audience over on a Nintendo console, they're gonna have to do some work. They're gonna have to ingratiate themselves with Nintendo fans, and they feel like, why? What's the point of doing that? We're already making, gazillions of dollars over here. Why waste the resources? Why do the marketing? Let Nintendo do the marketing. We don't, PlayStation or Sony and Microsoft do the marketing for us on their consoles, and they don't feel like they need to do that stuff. So Nintendo also feels like, why should we pay for advertising for your game when it's not going to benefit us much? Because even having your game on our console doesn't mean we're going to get that many more sales from third-party gamers. Why? Because guys who are used, like I said before, guys who are used to having third-party games do so, or used to having third-party games, would rather game on the consoles that they were groomed on, which is PlayStation and Xbox. So, like I said, that's the biggest reason you're not gonna get that much more incentive to buy a Nintendo console just because those games are on there. Yeah, it'll be something for the Nintendo fanboy to say, "Oh, we got those games too," and they don't have to feel insecure about not getting the multiplats. But it's not gonna. I don't feel like it's gonna help all that much as far as sales, because the biggest casual market, the third-party gamer, whatever you want to call them, they're used to buying a PlayStation or an Xbox box, and to get them to buy a Nintendo, I mean, it sounds like it makes sense. Well, we can get those Nintendo games and the third parties, but those guys don't care about the Nintendo games, so they're not going to buy a Nintendo console anyway. That's not going to be an incentive for them to buy a Nintendo console just because the third party games are over there, because they're used to their box. And it's going to take some major effort from the third party developers or publishers themselves and Nintendo to come along and say, "Hey guys, you should come back to our console." And I just don't feel like Nintendo was going to put in that effort and waste that money for little gain. And the third party certainly isn't going to put money in to groom Nintendo gamers, because they don't feel like it's worth it. They don't feel like they need to, because they make enough money. They make good money on the non-Nintendo consoles. So to me, that is a Nintendo's third party problem, if you will. I don't think it's going to change all that much. Even if the third party games do come to the NX, I don't think it's going to change all that much. So all this, I hope the NX gets third party support, that's not gonna fix, if you will, Nintendo's hardware sales like a lot of these guys do. A lot of these guys, they really want Nintendo to do well in the hardware sales so they can hobnob with the big boys, if you will. They can feel secure and get into the battles and show the lists of games and say, we're right there with you. We want to talk smack. We want to show you our specs. And they want to be able to get into those battles and feel secure. And when they can't do that, they get mad at Nintendo and they say stuff like the Wii U's, even though they got hundreds and thousands of hours on the Wii U, they say it's garbage console because they don't feel secure about their purchase anymore. They were defending the Wii U in the beginning. Now they've moved on to defending other consoles, which, I don't care. I just find it to be funny. So, so that's my talk. That's my thing on the third party and Nintendo's third party problem. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching, fools. And I'll see you next time. Peace.
Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools.